What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and welcome back to F1 25 driver career mode for the Texas Grand Prix. But if you missed last episode at Singapore, it was a surprising one for us. Mixed conditions, but we managed to get a really strong P4 out of it. If you haven't gone back to watch that video already, you should definitely go watch it right now. So we now have the second of 3 USA Grand Prix. The first one, of course, we had in Miami, had a pretty good result there. But Texas is a track that I'm pretty good at, and everybody is definitely pretty experienced at. So this has got to be one of my strongest circuits on the calendar, even though it isn't one of my favorites. I've been doing Texas pretty much all year for F1 25, probably my most played track so far because it was in the beta, and it's also been this week's, one of this week's ranked circuits. So I've already got a decent amount of experience on Texas, so I'm quite confident going into this episode. And I've got really no other updates for you. We could obviously see if anybody has made any upgrades going into this Grand Prix. McLaren made upgrades. So I'm even more surprised that Verstappen managed to pull out the win. Aston Martin and Williams, I mean, look at how far below we've fallen. Look at how far below Ferrari and Mercedes are. We really should have looked at that last episode, because that is certainly very, very interesting. In terms of vehicle components, we're about ready to replace the MGUK, as well as the energy store at some point, and the turbocharger, and the gearbox. But I'm going to try and push these maybe a couple more Grand Prix, because yeah, I don't want to take any. Well, I could definitely replace the turbocharger very soon. I think we'll definitely have to, maybe even this episode, since we are pushing 50% on it now. So I think we'll put in a new turbocharger for qualifying, that's for sure. In terms of the gearbox, I mean, it will not hurt putting another one in. It doesn't need it just yet, so we'll leave it for now. We'll definitely put a new MGUK in for this Grand Prix, and yeah, that's about it. We are going to be taking a grid penalty at some point when it comes to the energy store, since that will need replacing very, very soon. And in terms of the ICE, it doesn't need replacing yet, but we'll have to see how far along the wear is by the time we get up to Brazil, because Brazil is the Grand Prix where I would want to take grid penalties, because that is probably my strongest circuit. So yeah, if I'm going to take grid penalties anywhere, well, it's that and Spa. If I'm going to take grid penalties anywhere, it's very similar to Verstappen in Spa. It's a very strong track for him, so he usually takes his grid penalties there. We do the same thing with Brazil this time around. So we'll see what happens when we get up there. We've still got a couple of more Grand Prix to go until then, but other than that, there's pretty much nothing to say. We got some weekly resources coming in, so we're going to protect some parts ready.
New parts have been fabricated, and we're going to have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Yeah, we're going to protect some parts ready for the new regulations. I think we should focus a bit more on the powertrain now, so we'll do that and get that one protected. And we still don't have another secret meeting with Aston Martin just yet. I don't know when the third one is coming, maybe like really close to the end of the season, so we'll have to see. Hopefully I don't get any bugs or anything to do with the secret meetings. I've seen some pretty bad bugs about it, but it's usually people who's doing 10 race seasons, multiple seasons in, so I don't think we'll run into any bugs. So hopefully we do get a third secret meeting with Aston Martin and we're able to sign with them for season 2, because that's what I'm trying to do. Racing Bulls, still don't know. Red Bull, still don't know. Although I have not received any word on whether or not Red Bull will be offering a seat in the senior team. You know, I've scored more points than Yuki this season, so you know, you should expect it. But what I didn't expect, actually, is that Texas is a sprints weekend. Okay, so we got 2 races coming up this episode. The sprint will be 10 laps. Okay, only 1 practice session. That's fine by me. Let's see if anybody's brought any upgrades going into this Grand Prix. Yes, they have. It is Williams. Mercedes have brought in a big upgrade that's propelled them past Ferrari, Aston Martin and Williams. I don't know if that will really help them in the grand scheme of things, judging from the rest of the season. Haas are all the way at the bottom of the pile. That is so so surprising judging by how high up Haas were, like Imola time. A lot of changes going on with the R&D, especially recently, and this also shows why Ferrari have been so easy to catch up with, because we have a car that is literally as good as the Ferrari. But with a lot of cars ahead of us now in the R&D chart, it's going to be quite exciting to see how the grid shakes up. Of course, Singapore and Texas, very different tracks. We could be looking at a McLaren dominant weekend, but who knows? Engine wear can also come into play, so we'll see what happens. Either way, let's get into sprint qualifying for the Texas Grand Prix.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying.
Well, here we are at the second of 3 United States Grand Prix on the current Formula One calendar, and it's a track that's very similar to Silverstone in terms of how it drives and its tyre wear, and that's probably why it is so popular. It is just a really good Formula One track, even with these really big modern Formula One cars. There will still be a decent amount of overtakes to see on this particular track. So here we are in sprint qualifying. This is my second lap. Of course, the first lap, as you guys know, I usually use that to test the mediums out a little bit because, you know, we don't really get access to them in practice, and I don't have much access to them here with the short qualifying format neither, unfortunately. So I do one lap with the mediums, but I'm pushing like on the out lap, on the current lap, and the in lap as well. You know, just to really gauge on how like the grip is, what the tire wear is like rather, and yeah, then my second lap is on the softs, and honestly it wasn't so bad. Even on the mediums we, you know, ended up in a P14, which isn't too bad at all, but obviously our lap on the softs is a lot better. We got struck with quite a little bit of dirty air there from Jack Doohan. Unfortunately that lost us a bit of time, so that's going to impact our position quite a bit. I think maybe we lost a 10th or close to a 10th. It was a decent chunk of time lost, unfortunately, but we're still up by 3/10 against our medium lap, which should put us up quite a bit from P14. Piastri, funnily enough, is in P13, so he'll be qualifying really badly for the sprint, which is quite odd. So maybe we're not the only ones who got in a little bit of traffic trouble. But yeah, we're going to be starting in P10. Look at that, Oscar Piastri all the way down in P14. Both Williams doing really well, which is great to see. Yuki Tsunoda is also down there in the Red Bull. So a couple of surprises given our, you know, universe in this career mode. But everything else is pretty much normal. So let's get into the sprint.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside of the great city of Austin. This is a 3.6-mile lap with 20 corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Alongside me here in the commentary box today, former racing driver extraordinaire Naomi Schiff. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
It's a very special time for the drivers. It's almost like everything around you slows down and you become hyper-aware. So your nerves slightly go up, your adrenaline's going up. It's the perfect time to start focusing on your visualizations and preparing for the race. So you want to avoid distractions and really stay cool, calm, and focused.
Okay, Mark here. Let's get another points finish today. I just want to say good luck. We're all counting on you.
as always, because Hajar is not contributing at all. Honestly, I don't know what it is with Codemasters. They take so long to update the driver ratings. We are, what, 19 episodes in now? And we still don't have a driver ratings update for the likes of Antonelli, for Hajar, obviously Oscar Piastri as well. It's just so strange, and honestly, I really should have chosen Lawson as our teammate, but here we go, going up to 5 red lights to kick off the Texas Grand Prix weekend in the sprint. It's lights out, and away we go. Alonso gets a good start, Antonelli covers him off, and we're looking to go past both of them, maybe even past Sainz and Hamilton. Those two side by side. We made it 3 wide coming out of turn 1 here, and we're still fighting for it. Sainz managed to get past Hamilton, and we just about managed to get past him. So really good start for us, jumping up from P10 up to P6. Good start from Albon. Sainz didn't get the greatest of starts. I think Leclerc pretty much jumped him from the get-go. Maybe, I don't know, I forgot where Leclerc qualified, but either way, Albon is still up in P4. Williams having a really good season in this second half of the season, especially as we now look to make a move past Charles Leclerc. We're going to be using our ERS. Leclerc's not using it nearly as much, so he'll be saving it for later on, but perhaps he should have used it, because up ahead, Albon is actually making the move past George Russell, who surprisingly qualified really well in that awful Mercedes. I think the Mercedes should get a little bit of a vehicle tweak as well. It is really bad in this career mode. Like, I'm honestly going to go out here and say that the Williams is better than the Mercedes in the career mode. At least that's how it is for me. Mercedes are doing woeful. They only have points down to Russell. You know, Williams, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if they catch up and overtake Mercedes by the end of the season. They definitely have the better car by now as we make the move past George Russell. Pretty easy, honestly, at this point. He's probably given up. You know, he can get good qualifying with the Mercedes here and there, but the race pace for that car is absolutely woeful. I don't know what it is. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but the Mercedes in career modes in general for the last few years, especially in ground effects era Formula 1 games, they've been really bad. Like, Mercedes were not good in F1 23 for me. They were not good in 24 neither, and they have been absolutely shocking in this career mode. As we now look to get past Alexander Albon, diving down the inside of the Williams, and it's still side by side as Alex Albon puts up a stark defense, but we go around the outside, dancing the car around the Williams, and we are up into P3. There's no battle with the top two whatsoever. Lando Norris has actually gapped Max Verstappen, so the only battle that's going to happen is the battle for third as we now look to defend against Albon, of course. Albon actually gapping Russell a little bit, so Russell might be having a bit of a lonely race as Albon gets past us. I'm not going to fight that too hard yeah, I think it would be a waste of tyre life, and obviously I don't want Russell to get involved in this fight neither. But Albon is looking a little bit slow through Sector 3 here, so I'm going to dive down the inside and once again retake P3. So, yeah, Albon really let go of his focus there, lost focus in that Sector 3, very slow, really taking it easy. Perhaps he might have used a bit more tyre than he really wanted to, or maybe a bit more ERS than he wanted to, and he was saving it. I don't know, but either way, he does get another bite of the cherry on this main straight here. Again, I'm not going to fight him too hard right now because I know we're going to get DRS battles, but maybe I should have, as George Russell dives down my inside, looking to make the move here, and now it's side by side with the Mercedes. But obviously, we got more grip. We had the inside line, and I was using a lot of ERS to make sure we stayed ahead of him as well. So a bit of a scare. We really should stay focused on this as we now look to go around the outside of Alexander Albon once more, and once more take P3. So this is how it's going to be for the rest of this race. Lando Norris is getting further and further out ahead of Max Verstappen. The title fight is all but over. It's not absolutely confirmed, but it will be in the next couple of races because Verstappen is damn near 100 points ahead of Norris at this point. He's like 80 something points ahead. So yeah, Verstappen's all but won the championship. It's literally just a matter of what race it will be confirmed at. As now, once again, on the main straight, looking to defend against Alexander Albon. Albon going to look down the inside. He's going to dive down the inside, side by side, coming out of turn 1 here. Let's see what's going to happen here. Side by side, entering sector 1. This is so awesome. The battling with the AI is incredible, and I'm going to have to yield. Albon would not let that go, and I didn't want to cause a crash between either of us, and either way I'm able to keep up with him quite well, and we're going to make the pass once more for P3. I really wanted the inside line this time. I feel like there's more time to be gained and more time for Albon to lose if we did take the inside there. Lot less of a fight as well. No more side-by-side battles, but we go on to lap 9. Alex Albon once again looking to make the move, and once again I take the inside, and there is no opportunity for Albon to make the pass there this time. Once again, we managed to stay out ahead. So it's been a really successful race for us. I've also kept an eye on the tyre wear as well. It's not been the greatest even on these mediums. Of course, you know, this is the sprint race is about the size of a normal race stint, like one race stint. So it is quite viable to see how the mediums react to hard aggressive racing, especially since it is the sprint. You're going to be racing aggressively pretty much the whole time. But it's been a really good race for us, as once again Albon looks to make the pass. This time I've taken the inside entering turn 1, and look at this, Albon having a look down the left hand side, but we positioned our car brilliantly there, and once again we were able to keep the position. Oscar Piastri managing to have a decent recovery drive along with Tsunoda, P10 and P12 respectively. No points in it for either of them. It's a good points haul for Williams. Mercedes getting a decent points haul as well, but they won't even be happy about that. It's been an embarrassing season for them. It just keeps going from bad to worse in this era of Formula One car, and they'll really be looking forward to getting it over and done with and entering the 2026 season. Williams will be looking ahead. They've been working towards the 2026 season this whole time. I'm really curious to see how their 2026 car will look, but once again we defend that really well. There's a bit of a train behind us because of all the battling with Albon, so it's a good thing that this is the last lap, but there's no moves being made by anybody behind us. It is quite the DRS train. You know, if I just showed you this out of context, you'd think we were still playing F1 24 or something, but yeah, lots of great fighting between the AI. It just seemed to slow down towards the end there. Lando Norris finishes P1, Verstappen in P2, and we're going to come home in P3. A very strong sprint race from P6 to P3. Lando Norris will be happy with that victory, but not too happy, of course. That title is all but lost. Pretty much like the 2024 season, except even worse. The gap is even bigger, and again, like I said, it's only a matter of time before Verstappen is confirmed to be the champion. But yeah, as for us, really strong race for us right there, and no real surprises on the rest of the field, other than I guess Russell can be counted as a surprise as well. Either way, it's time to get into the penultimate main event. It is time for Grand Prix qualifying. So this is where it really matters, and hopefully we don't encounter any traffic on our qualifying laps like we did in the sprint quali when we ran into Jack Doohan, of course. That knocked us down to P10. Hopefully this qualifying will be a lot more representative of our overall pace. It's been a pretty good first lap for us as we now come around this beautiful right-hander. It's one of my favourite turns on the circuit, of course. I really do love it. It's so satisfying to do. And now we come around the final corner to see where our first lap, actually our provisional lap, puts us at. About 4/10 off of Oscar Piastri. I think he definitely ran into traffic on his quali lap as well. 4/10 down on the McLarens. Doesn't sound awful. I'll be hoping to make up that time, at least, you know, with the track evolution. And looks like we did, up to nearly 5 temps. I struggled a little bit in Sector 1. It was kind of the same as the original lap, but the rest of the lap, the track evolution really came into play. And as we come round the final corner, up 5/10 from our provisional lap, what's it going to be for the Grand Prix? P6, which is a much stronger position than that P10 start was in the sprint. So a really good qualifying position for us, but surprisingly it is Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. A really tumultuous season for the Ferraris as well, not as bad as Mercedes, but it has been really inconsistent for them. They will be really happy with that pole position from Lewis Hamilton right there. But speaking of the inconsistency, Russell down in P16, Leclerc down in P17, Antonelli's down there as well. Just horrible for the Mercedes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this race is going to go with Hamilton on pole. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's see what we can do from P6.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the two DRS zones into turn 1 and the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today.
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race, but I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Right, let's see if we can push for another points finish in this race. Good luck.
Well, here we are, and as I alluded to earlier on this episode, Texas is a very similar circuit to Silverstone in terms of the tyre wear, at least in the Formula One game for this year anyway. So if you guys remember the Silverstone episode, I think it is the only episode where we didn't score points, and that is completely down to the tyre wear. That's also down to my aggressive racing style, of course. I am really hard on the tyres. So we completely dropped, we fell like a penny down the order in Silverstone. So I don't want to make that mistake again. Unfortunately, this means, however, we're going to have a much slower estimated race time with the two-stop versus, the vast majority of the rest of the field. I wouldn't be surprised if Haas also go for a two-stop. They've done that a couple of times this season. We have a 7-second deficit to the estimated time, unfortunately. However, that does not take into account, AI driver battle, other racing battles, I suppose. It doesn't just count for AI, but it can also count for sim racing, I guess, as well. So I'm pretty confident that we could make up that time. I'm pretty strong at Texas. I'm pretty good at it. Sector 1, hit or miss. But I'm usually really good at Sector 3 against the AI, and I make up a lot of time there. So even if, we don't have a good Sector 1, it should be pretty fine as we now line up at the grid for what is going to be quite the eventful Grand Prix. We're going to have to be on it the entire time, pushing these mediums to the absolute limit. It will be medium hards as we now go to 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Lewis Hamilton leading the way in the Ferrari ahead of Max Verstappen. Piastri and Norris side by side in the McLarens as well as we get past Fernando Alonso. And we're looking to actually challenge Lando Norris here. So it looks like we can maybe get past the McLaren. I'm using my ERS just to make sure that we can get past him as Piastri and Verstappen also do battle. But Verstappen ends up managing to stay ahead of Piastri and we manage to claim P4, so it's really good for us as we now settle in behind Oscar right here, and I'll be looking to perhaps make a move onto the back straight here. Lewis Hamilton, a good start from him. He'll be happy to have accomplished that. Piastri pretty slow on the exit of this particular corner. It looks like he won't be using much ERS neither, funnily enough. And look at that. We use about 20% of ours. Maybe that'll be a mistake in the coming laps, I don't know. But I need to be as aggressive as I possibly can on this strategy to make up all 7 of those seconds. But we managed to go around the outside of Oscar Piastri and make the move stick. So it's P3 for us as we now set our eyes on Max Verstappen over the next couple of laps, and I'm able to keep within DRS range for those couple of laps. But yeah, I had to push the car really hard to do so, and eventually we just didn't have enough left in the ERS tank. And you know, tyre wear is a thing as well. And you know, Verstappen also has the slipstream off of Hamilton, although Hamilton has done a really good job of staying ahead. Norris has gotten past Piastri, and it only takes him a couple laps after doing that to actually catch up to us. So Lando's got some really good pace today, and he's definitely going to make this move right now. I'm not going to fight it too hard. In fact, I'm going to try and come back at him going into turn 1 here, but Lando defends that pretty well, and we're going to have to fight another time, most likely onto the back straight. But of course, it will only be a matter of time before our tyres fall off a cliff, especially in sector 1. That's how we lost Verstappen, and that's probably how we may lose Lando at some point. But we have enough DRS to fight him once more on this very lap, and we're managing just about to get past him. But again, it is only a matter of time before Lando makes the move stick, and we have no chance to come back at him as Lando once again looks to make the move. I tried to push him towards the inside, which gives us as much space as possible, but Lando actually moves a little bit under braking. So a little bit of harsh defending there by Lando. Definitely not allowed to do that. He did move under braking, which actually restricted my space to go around him, but whatever. You know, there's a lot of things you can do in the game that you wouldn't be allowed to do in real life that even us players definitely take advantage of. So that's fair. I'm not going to whine too much, and Lando definitely gains that P3, and he'll be looking to now catch up to the top 2. Verstappen really struggling to get past Hamilton, and I bet Lando really fancies his chances of getting past Lewis. And honestly, I don't doubt him looking at his pace currently. As now we move on to lap 8. This will be our pit lap. Oscar Piastri will finally have enough in the tank to overtake us, but he is looking a lot slower than Lando Norris, so that's definitely some AI engine wear coming into play as well. Piastri has had a pretty good season, all things considered, especially driver rating considered. It really should be higher, but he's had a good season regardless. Who knows what would have happened if it wasn't for those 4 DNFs that he has sustained this season, as we have now entered the pit lane for our second set of mediums. So this is going to be a pretty important stint, in fact the most important stint, because we're going to have to be making a lot of overtakes on this particular stint. In fact, we might be fighting cars the whole time, so it is imperative that we get past these drivers, these back markers, as quickly as we possibly can, as we now come out into P19 in between the Kick Saubers. And yeah, we're so fast in sector 1 compared to these guys that I'm immediately able to get within DRS range, and now we're looking to chase down Doohan and Behrman. If you look further up ahead of us, there seems to be a bit of a train as we now get past Doohan in a pretty nice move right there, and now we look to chase down the Haas of Oliver Behrman, who has been pretty unlucky not to score points this season. Or has he scored points? I don't know. I have a feeling he has. I don't know what Grand Prix it was, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. I think I'm thinking Zandvoort, and he definitely spun out there. Either way, we're diving on the inside of a pretty unorthodox place to do so. The final corner, as we now claim P15. That's how much grip we have in the tyres. We're just so much quicker. And now we catch up to this to this train ahead of us. There's a few gaps between them, but not too much as Gasly does battle with Antonelli. We're going to get past Sainz. We have the grip to also get past Antonelli, and Gasly is going to have a bit of a slip up right there, and that allows us to get past as well. You might have noticed a little edit there. That's because originally I went right into the back of Gasly. I did not see that coming, and I had no way of avoiding it, so I flashbacked it now knowing that was going to happen, and I was able to make that overtake. It's only for specific circumstances like that I do use the flashback. If I feel like I've been a bit hard done by, it is what it is. So if you've got a problem with that, I don't care. Everybody uses flashbacks, even your favorite YouTubers, I can guarantee it. I'm just someone who's going to be honest about it. I don't use them that much. I use them in only situations like that. As we now make the pass on George Russell, I was a lot more over aggressive with him right there. That's mainly because he was chasing down Hadjar and would have most likely made the pass had I not done that. So doing my teammate a little bit of a favor right there. I have no idea where Hadjar is in the grand scheme of things. He is P11 right now, but yeah, other drivers are yet to make their pit stops, including himself, so I don't know where he will be. I don't know where he's going to end up, but we got to focus on ourselves now, looking to overtake the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who has had a nightmare weekend. That's for sure. He'll be happy to just finish the race and get it over and done with. We make a very easy pass on him, and now we're able to make the pass on the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, going around the outside perhaps and turning in, and there's a bit of contact between us two, which isn't good. Lance Stroll, aggressive defending from him right there. That's obviously because of the rumours swirling around us and Lance Stroll's seat in the Aston Martin. There's big rumours that we might be teaming up with Fernando Alonso in that Aston Martin next season, and Lance Stroll obviously will feel threatened, and he'll be wanting to defend a lot more as Lando Norris makes the pass for the lead. So a very impressive race from him, after doing battle with us, able to get past us, and not only that, but able to make up nearly 3 seconds to not only overtake Verstappen, but also Hamilton, who's done such a great job of defending Verstappen in this race. I wonder what's been going on with Max, being not able to make that overtake on Hamilton. Maybe some engine wear might be involved. Maybe Hamilton, just has a much better energy store. I don't know. But we're going to still follow Lando Norris as he makes the pit stop. And this is why we're looking. This is a really bad situation for Lando, already having to make a recovery drive after being held back by us. And now a big issue with his tyre in the pit stops as Lewis Hamilton retakes the lead, or at least he would have, if not for us. Our unorthodox strategy has now allowed us to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Of course, this is provisional. This absolutely has no standing on, the finalised Grand Prix, but Verstappen pitted beforehand. He was able to get an undercut on Hamilton. However, it was by about 2 laps. So Verstappen is going to be at a stark disadvantage going on towards the end of the race. So we could do him a bit of a favour here by not fighting him at all, and maybe, if we have to, we could probably defend and slow down the guys behind him. But this is a lot of clean air that Verstappen will certainly need to make up the tyre deficit, of course. And, he'll have a few seconds out in front as well. So Verstappen will be really thankful that we were the one he had to overtake there, because obviously we're not going to give him much of a fight at all. We've not given him much of a fight this whole season, as we now once again go on to our pit lap. And Verstappen able to stay out in front. He's got quite a comfortable lead out there as we come into the pits for the final time in our 2 stops. So the hard work has pretty much been done. It's now about seeing where we're going to end up at coming out onto the hards. We still have quite a decent chunk of the race to go, barring any issues with the pit stop. We have none, and we're able to get right back out on to the hards. So I'm really confident that we can go on to the end of the race on these. We're going to have a big tyre deficit versus the rest of the cars, or at least the rest of the drivers, are going to have a big tyre deficit to us. We're going to have a lot more grip as we come out into P9 ahead of Charles Leclerc, looking to chase down the fighting Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda and the Haas of Esteban Ocon. Leclerc does give us a bit of an issue, a bit of a scare, a bit of pressure coming out onto our outlap here, of course, since our hard tyres need to warm up, need to rubber in on this track. But he's not going to give us too much of an issue. I'm impressed that, he's in P10, in the points, but he shouldn't have to make that recovery drive, especially since Hamilton currently is, in the podium positions. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda makes the pass on Esteban Ocon. So it will be Ocon who will be next on the chopping block. He is on the mediums. I don't know what his strategy was, but it looks as though he might be going for a two-stop as well. Very different to us. I don't know when he's going to pit, but he's definitely not going to the end on those mediums. Surely not. I didn't see him in the pits at any time near us. So, and we clearly have a lot more grip compared to him, as he is already struggling a little bit. So, yeah, definitely a two-stop for Ocon. Ocon in the Haas has definitely had more unorthodox strategies this season, and it has worked out pretty well for him. He's definitely going to score some points as we look to make the pass. I overshoot it a bit, and Ocon comes right back at us, and it's now side by side for us. However, we do have more grip, and we're going to be able to finish the move right there before any big contact can happen. As my engineer now tells me that my objective is to stay ahead of Ocon. This engineer, man, so delusional. Clearly that's not my objective. Ocon, I'm going to have no trouble staying ahead of him because we're just so much quicker. I'm looking to not only get past Ocon, which we've done, but we want to get past Tsunoda, which we will be able to do. And then I need to make up that 5-second deficit on Alex Albon and Fernando Alonso up in P5. But we have DRS on Yuki Tsunoda. We're going to get this move done pretty easily. He goes defensive to the inside. I'm going to commit to the inside and get this move absolutely done. I don't want to lose any time whatsoever by going around the outside. So there it is. P7 has been gained for us. It's been a great race. Can we make up that nearly 5 seconds on the two cars ahead of us in these 11 laps, I think that is, 9-10 laps. Either way, looking onto the viewer Lando Norris, and things are going from bad to worse. He probably was catching up to Verstappen, and maybe despite all the troubles in this race could have gotten a really strong victory, but that is an engine failure right towards the end of the race. He'll be devastated about that, and that means Verstappen will now have a 100 plus point gap on Lando. If it wasn't confirmed before, it's definitely confirmed now. Max Verstappen will be 2025 Drivers' World Champion in our career mode. So congrats to him, but we're going back, focusing on us. Lap 23, we definitely were able to catch up to Alex Albon and Fernando Alonso. Albon has not managed to overtake Alonso at all. So Alonso's done a really good job at defending. Maybe he has a better strategy as well. Albon coming back at us though, defending. He really doesn't want to lose that P5, but we have a lot more grip. That is a pretty easy overtake for us, and it will only be a matter of time before we catch up to Fernando Alonso as we now come round the final corner before the back straight. The top three about 13 plus seconds ahead of us, so P4 is what we're aiming for. It would have been P5 if it wasn't for Norris's engine failure, so it works in our favour very well as we now look to make the move around the outside of Fernando Alonso as he goes defensive, battling against hopefully our future teammate in the Aston Martin right there. It's quite the battle as he is still fighting us right there. A really good fight from the two-time world champion, and he dives down our inside. What a great move by Alonso, and we're just about managing with the extra grip we have to stay ahead. So it's been a fantastic race for us, fighting the whole way, but it is P4 captured for us, and that is pretty much where it's going to stay, barring any engine failures up front. Max Verstappen has took the win in this Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, a very strong P2 for him. So regardless of how well our race went, Lewis Hamilton has made up ground in the driver's standings. But to be fair, in the sprint, he didn't even score any points. So maybe it doesn't make too much of a difference after all, as Oscar Piastri is P3. We get a very strong P4. That was definitely one of my favourite races to do. It was just non-stop action. It's P4 for us in the Texas Grand Prix, and driver of the day to boot.
The checkered flag is out. We're going to be hearing that Dutch national anthem again, because it's victory for Max Verstappen.
Wow, 4 wins in a row. Can you believe it? This really does start to mark a moment of dominance in this season for this driver.
What a day it's been for Formula One, and what a day it's been for these 3 drivers. Time for the podium celebrations. Time for our drivers to celebrate. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen.
Well, it's a 4th victory in a row for Max Verstappen now, really dominating in this second half of the season. It's 2023 all over again for Verstappen and Red Bull. And with Lando Norris's engine failure, perhaps Red Bull are still in the Constructors' Championship fight. Just about, though. Tsunoda really needs to start picking up the slack a little bit. But yeah, strong victory for Verstappen, strong result for Lewis Hamilton. He does gain 1 point on us over the course of the entire weekend. So we didn't really lose much at all. But I'm just really happy with that race. That was absolutely incredible for us. Lance Stroll picks up the final points, P10, Leclerc managing to get P8, Russell P9, so good recovery drives from them. And we managed to reach our accolade for podium finishes, so sprint podiums still count as well. So that is the end of this episode of F1 25 Driver Career Mode. We're now also a 77 overall. I do want to apologise for how late this episode is. I know I'm saying that every time, but yeah, I'm just really busy with work, and then I also wanted to finish up my Dark Souls 3 series, so go check that out if you haven't already. I uploaded the final 2 episodes, or live streamed them rather, but now that that's done, hopefully we have a lot more time to do more F1 25. And it's a good thing this is a long episode to kind of make up for it as well. Guys, cheers for watching. I'll see you next time for some more F1 25 Career Mode. Peace.